Hey everybody, clearing. Okay, this is going to be a divine masculine check-in. We're just going to look at where are the DMs at. First off, Starseed Oracle, which is quite a 5D deck, but let's see what we get. So where are these masculines? Thank you, Divine Creator, for using me as a channel of only the highest, most beneficial information coming through. What's going on for the DMs? Energetically, how are they being shown this as instruction into the physical on each of the usual areas of consideration, and how does this relate to their divine feminine? Okay, so conscious mind about the connections. Seal of evolutionary colors, progressive awareness, multi-directional change. So these masculines are making changes behind the scenes and in these connections based on some information that's recently come up. What I've remembered in this moment is the loyalties that have been proven to the masculine, the genuine love, the genuine loyalty to the masculine, not out of pretense, but because the love is real, is what I'm getting here. So this progressive awareness is really helping the masculines be sure-footed for the next cycle of the next developments in these connections. But from their side of it, they are considering, conscious of how they can bring multi-directional change into the connection. In what way? Okay, they're open to more, pardon me, they're open to more, they're more open. I'm just hearing, this is a portal of potential going forward. That rainbow triangle, that is the unlimited possibility that awaits into the future. So instead of thinking in limited ways and finite ways, these masculines are just more open. In general, they're more trusting, they're more excited, they're more up for the adventure of the unknown. How does this relate to their feminine? Wow, they're still continuing in the 3D. They're working double time here to get themselves postured for the best case scenario going forward. So they're gaining clarity about this connection and about the love that's here. And they're also making more confident decisions behind the scenes to get into alignment in the physical. So this means that whatever they have going on their side of things with their circumstances, people, places, things, if you know that they would need to make some changes in order for progress, in order for them to feel really confident to start a relationship like this in their world, then they are doing those things double time right now to get ready for being able to kick this off. What can we see for the energy regarding how the masculines are consciously aware of their feminine? Galactic Council Crest, spiritual sovereignty, astral travel, and timelessness. Okay, big message. So this is saying that the masculines have known this day would come, is what I heard. Where both would be in this ideal energy of wholeness regarding their own righteousness. So the masculines have oh my goodness, the Sukkah. Okay, so spiritual sovereignty. These masculines, divine masculines, have known that they have wanted to have the real deal relationship, just like you feminines. And so, whether we use the words karma or, divine counterpart, or all these terminologies that we hear in this niche sort of arena, these masculines have known on their heart that they want the real deal and that they want someone who is whole and trustworthy and not confused, not making weak choices, not giving away their power, not locked in codependency or imbalances in relationships. These masculines have wanted somebody who is balanced, healed, whole. And so, yeah, as far as looking at you, divine feminines, they saw this potential in you. And now they're seeing it come to the forefront because of the things that have played out on this journey. The healing, it's here. So they are seeing the evidence of this healing. This heron is pointing straight to you on my table, divine feminines. So how does this relate to the feminines? 10 of Pentacles. So this day has come. They're seeing this wholeness having taken root as a necessary foundation for legacy, for the real deal. Like, they have not wanted to go all in until this coast was clear. What are we feeling on the heart space here for the masculines? Flower of feeling, compassion, emotional awakening, and forgiveness. Okay, so they're realizing that they could be more fair. They had you on a pedestal, but they also had a healthy dose of skepticism, is what I'm hearing. This forgiveness for you being a human, forgiveness because they have not been blameless. They are really starting to see how they have had very unrealistic, rigid expectations, but also how they have not been perfect and blameless. I just heard A for effort. So they have to give it to us feminines because they see us desiring, wishing to get this right. You know, a lot of times, let's say karmic partners actually don't care to do things in alignment with their partner. They're not at that level of development. These masculines see you, feminines, really sincerely actually desiring true connection with them. And this is melting their hearts, is what I'm hearing. And this is the thing that's causing them to put down the testing and not be so hard on the feminines anymore. Their fear, their trauma hardened their heart, and they were locked in thinking things would never, ever work out. With you, with anyone, with love. And their hearts are melting. How is this happening in the physical? Bit by bit. These are the changes, one foot in front of the other. This is the butterfly era, the ascended. This is the higher love coming in. It's no longer that skepticism. It's already been unfolding, and that's why they can see this. That's why they can feel this forgiveness coming in, is because this is being established on a strong foundation that warrants the justified experience of true forgiveness coming in. The healing has happened because we're past the worst of things. Because the trust is being established, because the foundation is being established, there is this thawing of emotions because it's safe now. How does this relate to the feminine? Okay, Chariot, that is a card of movement forward. It's in the inverse, so they're waiting for the chance to move this forward. They have been open to that from the beginning, but they haven't seen the readiness or the potential like they are truly feeling it now. What can we see in the Heart of Hearts? Chamber of communication, telepathy, correspondence, declaration. Okay, so the Heart of Hearts, the high heart, this is where you've been teaming up all the way along. This is why we say separation is an illusion, because we are getting this transference, this teamwork, and all of these evolutionary experiences, this transceiver on the heart space between counterparts. This is where we give the benefit of the doubt. We stick with it. We don't just take the surface level things for granted. We dive deeper in the name of love. We see the heart of the individuals as doing their best sincerely in these connections. I just about got choked up when I said that, because isn't that the truth? In karmic codependent scenarios, there's so much playing dirty, fighting dirty, cheap shots, cutting corners. These connections are not that. Not at the core of them. And these masculines are recognizing that, feminines. What can we see for how it's playing out? Wow, okay. So they are realizing they don't know it all. These masculines are realizing that these connections keep surprising them. They keep turning over new ways of looking at things through this lens of forgiveness and compassion and love. They can't quit you. So this is really beautiful. It keeps opening their minds to more. What else can we see directly related to the feminines? Yeah, this judgment energy. So the masculines are forced to know that they don't know it all. Their trauma, their fear, their grief may have told them what to be skeptical and look out for, but this connection keeps expanding that worldview, that horizon, and they keep seeing things in new ways in the name of love. And that is on their heart of hearts. So right now they are picking up more on the pure tone frequency between the two of you than their own assumptions or their fear. They're starting to feel genuine connection, emotional availability, because this connection has a pure energy to it. Righteous, aligned. What can we see for what the masculines would like to manifest? Ooh, spine of fire, true self, passion, motivation, and purpose. Alignment. So this connection is helping the masculines understand truth, righteousness, alignment, authenticity, divinity. How is this playing out in the connection? How they're watching you. They are looking at the things they've been in denial of in their own life, their own actions, thoughts, assumptions, expectations. And they're watching to see if they can put down those guarded ways of assessing things. They're watching you directly. This is where the testing comes in. This is where they don't want to test so that you fail, feminines. They are testing because they've never seen anything like this, and they're hoping that it is what they think it is. Okay? How does this relate to the feminines? The lovers, yeah. If you are my true match, you have nothing to be afraid of. I'm not trying to trick you into failing, is what I just heard. And so really it's just that they are confirming that you are the best one in the world for them, feminines. What are the actions these masculines are taking? Cellular light, bioluminescence, self-illumination, and simplicity. They're bringing things back to basis, back to the basics, back to the essence, back to what is essential, back to what really matters, instead of the remnants of their trauma and their fears. We don't have fears and skepticisms if we don't have some experience that has brought those kinds of potentials to our consciousness. And so they are aware that something that's happened in their lives, their imprinting, their history, has caused them to be on guard for certain things. They are putting those down and coming back into a more secure self, a more grounded self. They are distinguishing between those things that they're on guard for and what they would be like if they had not had certain experiences. The openness that we saw at the beginning of this reading, they're realizing that their traumas have skewed their expectation of what's possible or what they believe is available to them. And they're remembering that there is another way of looking at things that is not affected by those traumas. How is this playing out in the connection? Yeah, it's humbling them. They're putting down the devil energies. Instead of filtering their assessment of reality through the trauma and the fear, they're getting much more proficient at basing it on the moment, and that you are truly different than people from their past. They've gone through enough cycles with you, feminines, where they are beginning to affirm, confirm that you truly are not the same as the people that are connected with their traumas. What can we see for the feminines here? Yeah, this is a grieving card. Like, your masculine is really looking at the things that happened in the past and now realizing that this connection is reserved in the name of love. It stands alone. It's separate from all of those things that have happened that have not been fair or loving or safe or trustworthy. They're seeing you set apart, the two of you, and that it's different than these things of the past. What is the biggest challenge for these masculines? Light body activator, luminosity, empowerment, forward motion. So the biggest challenge is putting all those things down and stepping forward with this essential light, the truth. How is that being played out? Okay, this is the last straw before union with this card in the inverse. This is the thing that anchors union from the masculine side, is this empowerment that comes when they really truly understand that the trauma was not them. It does not define them. And it does not need to affect their decisions or their perspectives going forward. They can clear all of that and be free from it. They can step out of that like a armor. How does this relate to the feminine? This has been the blockage. This is what they need time to find their own perspective with all these experiences in the material realm that have shown them to be skeptical of love. They're going to have to forgive those things. They're going to have to put them down. They're going to have to look at what would the world be like? What could their reality be like if those things didn't exist, if those things didn't happen? They are designing a trauma-free future here by looking at the difference and realizing that they are the change, they are potentially the change they wish to see in the world, that it's not going to magically happen on its own outside of them. It's intimately connected with doing that work internally, where they have to choose not to carry that trauma forward, those trauma responses, those tactics, those tricks, those games, those subconscious drivers. They are seeing that when they behave a certain way, they get a certain result. When they interpret your behavior a certain way, they act out in a certain way. Neither of those dynamics work. And these masculines realize that they can't just do one or the other of those two things. They have to find a new course forward. This forward motion. So right now, these masculines, again, they're very much thinking about when they're reactive based on what they think they need to be on guard from your side of it. When they misread you and run with that, that doesn't allow for a path of progress. When they bring in something wounding and you react, they're seeing how that causes a undesirable pattern to emerge. And so they know they can't simply react to you, and it's not fair for them to act a certain way and have that produce a reaction from you. So they now know that you're mirroring. It's very clearly obvious that this whole pattern of back and forth, eye for eye, tit for tat, needs to stop. And they are very much challenged by it, but it's also productive here because of this first card, progressive awareness, multi-directional change. These masculines are awake. to the way that these connections are spinning their wheels in certain regard based on not being conscious about cause and effect. What is the solution here? Seal of subtle luminosities, discernment, discipline, and order. Exactly. That's an 11. It's a wake up. So we got cellular light and then light body activator. And now, because they are stepping into this embodiment of truth, of light, now they're able to bring discipline and order to this. Discipline from their side of it and order to the connection. In leadership, in self-direction here. How does that relate to the connections? This is the new beginning that started in the physical, that is already starting to play out. Time is not linear. So the two of coins that we already saw earlier, where the message came through, this new cycle has already started because we're already seeing these next level experiences that we can learn from this way. This is the acknowledgement of it, and the masculines coming up to speed with more accountability from their side of it to only bring into the connections righteous things, and also not to be reactive, but to handle things differently. So when something comes in from your side, feminines, these masculines no longer want to retaliate or resist or go into fear. They want to be progressive with it. Likewise, before they bring in something that's wounded and traumatic, they want to be proactive and progressive and not just go unconsciously on the trauma triggers. How does this relate to the feminine? Ooh, the Queen of Wands in the upright. This is really interesting. There are two lions here, two humble masters. This is ancestral stuff, ancestral clearing. But this is the masculine that can come in and see the feminine as an equal instead of having it be at odds. This is the challenge, is seeing this ricochet, this mirroring, this reverberation stuff, and now instead of making matters worse, there's a balance. The masculines can advocate for this balance and strength, humility. They can go there with it instead of needing, like, they're closing the gap between potential triggers and finally bringing it around to successful outcome. They're seeing that when a trigger comes up, they can go to the desired successful outcome instead of letting it have to play out or making matters worse or causing a drama. Cutting to the chase, closing the gap. I'm being drawn to this wand touching the head of each lion here. So putting our heads together and identifying the wobble together instead of going there and going into the wobble. There's something here about togetherness instead of polarizing, or the energy of separate, of polarizing. There's a unity consciousness, a trust. They see you as reasonable, feminines, whereby they feel like you could put your heads together about anything that comes up instead of deferring to the fear. It's like when the masculines have been reactive or resistant or not in balance, that's because they've had a skeptical or fearful assessment of what they think that you've been bringing in, or they've been in a disintegrated state when they've allowed themselves to act or behave or speak in certain ways when they've initiated the wobble. Now they're catching themselves out on that, and they're not assuming that you're trying to sabotage the connection when you do things or say things that they have taken offense to or been scared by. It's really fear or love. You can't have both in the same place. And so they're realizing the love and the trust are available here. And so whenever they go into fear, they know that doesn't have to happen. Wow, what is the direction in the near future? Adenine and thymine, duality, contrast, trust, and balance. So we had the temperance card already, but again, this is a unifying message when there seems to be a duality going on, polarizing. If we go into trust, we can bring balance in. So this is the masculine coming into leadership. So our internal masculine feminines, where we talk ourselves down off that ledge when things go sideways. This is the external masculine, also realizing they have this empowered permission of spirit within this connection by the divine to represent a more trusting, balanced approach instead of going into fear when it looks like a contrast, or when it looks polarizing, or when it looks like there's a duality. They don't need to all of a sudden go into fear. How is this playing out? Oh, look at this. It's a twin flame card, but both here letting it unfold naturally, going to this grounded, anchored teamwork. It's like bringing the two closer together. How is this playing out with the feminine? Second chance coming around, or 50 millionth chance. This is the return from missed opportunities or unrequited love. This is where we bring in being on the same page, and we get another chance to affirm the unity here rather than the differences. Okay, I'm going to get one alchemy card to see what a final message can be. Sun. Sun. That is the first card in this deck. We got a lot of moon energy, I think, yesterday. Hey, sun. Each morning the sun graces the night sky, summoning the dawn. Such is the energy of the sun card. With its arrival is an activation and a presence of vitality of new beginnings. It is said the sun is linked to the hero archetype and the yang dynamic in Chinese alchemy. Through the sun's radiance, we are inclined to see ourselves fully and establish a sense of who we are. We gain confidence and a clearer vision. In its light, we are assured that we, too, have an important role in the world. Associated with masculine dynamics, the sun card certainly carries a risk if not kept in check. Remember, the sun never actually sets. It's the earth that pivots away. Access whether it's time for you to awaken more fully or turn away and rest. Sunburns humble us all. Okay, so really interesting. This would seem to suggest that the masculines are coming into the flow with the aspect of their divine masculinity and when to assert it and when to rest, but also that dance of the moon and the sun and the complementary energies, that it doesn't have to be forced. It's a natural process. It's organic. It's trustworthy. It's there. We don't have to fight against it. We can work with it. We can have a soft focus. We can have non-attachment, and it all makes sense. It all instructs. It all illuminates. Okay, many blessings, everyone. Bye for now.